moving into fancy new condos and homes and having movie theaters and parks in their community.
Yes, sir.
I am going to ask my colleagues to support sending a message to Harbor East developers who've used these children and their families to give them some of that money back.
Right. Now, Councilman and family, we just turned in having a conversation with 12th District Councilman Carl Stokes, talking about Harbor Point. Now, if I did that on my taxes, say if I wrote, I went and got 2 children or 3 children, or just the whole community that, didn't have their permission to do this, the IRS and the state would come in and audit me, and the feds would come in and audit me. Is that right?
Absolutely. If you start claiming children that weren't yours, amen?
Yes, sir. Amen.
And take that off your tax form, as you said, somebody's knocking on your door.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, they're attaching your bank account.
That's right.
Until you prove up. They're not going to wait for you to prove right.
Right.
They're going to attach your bank account until you prove different.
Yes, sir.
And so that's exactly a great point, Brother Darren. They're using these citizens and putting them on their, quote, tax return.
Right. Yes,
claiming they're dependents of theirs.
Right.
Claiming they're dependents of theirs, and yet, like the non-support parent,
the deadbeat development down there, the deadbeat development corporation.
Deadbeat. We need to call Sheriff Anderson out.
Yeah, we made the call more than just the sheriff, brother. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Right. But now, have you been in contact or heard from any of the community associations or citizen councils in that part of Perkins or any of the other developments?
We're talking to Perkins now.
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking to Perkins now. As a matter of fact, there's a meeting with many of the pastors and community folk beginning, frankly, this Friday morning, and you'll be hearing from us in about a week or so.
Okay.
But we are now talking to and working with the community in Perkins.
Yes, sir.
And so that they, of course, when we talk to them, are saying, we didn't even know.
Right.
We didn't even know.
Yes, sir. Yeah. They didn't know. Nobody reached out to them from the now they can find them if they got some flyers or circulators to talk about sales that's going on down there.
Absolutely.
In Harbor East or some other program that the mayor's office and the administration would be promoting. So I got to ask, where's the mayor's been? I've seen her on Channel 25, not using it to educate the citizens around the city of Baltimore about this, but only saying almost like a lobbyist, and I think she should register as a lobbyist with her behavior I've seen with Michael Beatty, along with some of the so-called minority developers that I saw at the press conference, Wayne Frazier, and a few others. And I think that now is not the time for them to sit idly by. Now would be the time for them to assert themselves and say, let's look at this issue of high unemployment in East Baltimore and throughout the city of Baltimore, and why should we continue to have business as usual? Here's an opportunity to do a little of what we saw with Under Armour, with some good corporate responsibility in terms of what they did for Dunbar with the building of a field. But we're talking about Under Armour. That was a one-time project, but at least they came in and invested in that part of East Baltimore.
They did, and they did one off of East Baltimore Street too. I got to give them credit. They also did another field that is actually adjacent somewhat to the Freedom Academy, right there by the pool on East Baltimore Street, near Cold City Springs. City Springs.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and I know Under Armour has done other projects, and they're local guys, and frankly, they've done very well, but they've also given back.
Yes, sir.
And I got to tell you that the group that we're talking about at Harbor East not only has used folk, but they have not given back. We've asked them to give back, not for ourselves. I don't have a check from them. That's fine. I don't need a check from them. What I need, though, what we need as a community is for the community to get paid back.
That's right. Sales tax, bottle tax. They pay taxes. Right. If you're buying cigarettes, what do they call that? A sin tax?
Sin tax.
Right.
If you got a phone, a cell phone, a land phone, you paying taxes to Baltimore City.
That's right.
Those taxes should go to support, to nurture, to strengthen our communities, all of our communities.
Yes, sir.
Most particularly to the communities that are hit hardest and are down.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And instead, we're taking tax money giving it to private developers. And catch this, brother, catch this.
Yes.
When they get that tax break, it's not like they're paying for the construction of their development.
No, all the time they're
that
using
money goes in their pockets.
Yes, and what we're seeing in some of these sites, they're using sometimes on Department of Public Works labor to lay down the water and the pipes and everything else.
That's what they're asking.
So you're saying, wait a minute, you just don't want the cake and eat it too. This is robbery, from my perspective, in terms of what we see when we go to see on some of these sites right now.
Right
now, the hearing is going to be Monday. What time? Or not a hearing.
No. Just introducing a resolution.
Okay.
A hearing hasn't been announced yet.
Right.
And I'm hopeful, Brother Darren, because it won't be in my. I'm hopeful that the council allows a hearing to go forward. If it may get out of my control if it goes to some other committee.
Right.
But I'm asking my members and my colleagues to hold a hearing. I'm not asking them. I am asking them to support it, but I'm not asking them to start by supporting it. I'm asking them to come to a hearing and to listen.
Yes, sir.
And then determine. And at that hearing, we're going to bring Perkins Homes residents and children here and let them weigh in on what their needs are.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to bring Mr. Beatty here, and I'm going to ask him if he's going to do this, if he's going to use these residents' poverty, what are you going to do in return for the use of their poverty to increase your profits?
Yes, sir. It's important. Got to ask, just yesterday, or at the Monday City Council, there was the passage of the mayor's Monday passage of the mayor's 2014 budget. Got to ask, perhaps why City Council President, and I know you can't speak for him, but this was an opportunity for him to hold up the budget to get these types of amendments or these types of policies at least on the table, or at least move them down the football field, or to take a page out of the Miami Heat and Spurs last night to at least press them regarding getting something for the citizens in the city of Baltimore, particularly around this issue of Harbor Point. Thoughts and comments on that?
Sure. Well, again, last year, let me just go to last year and the president. Last year, the president offered an alternative budget, as some may recall.
Right.
And the president's budget gave a lot more money to children, to education opportunities, to youth opportunities, and to jobs for their parents, but also after school, job training, even summer and winter jobs for young people. And only 6 of the 15 members of the council supported that. Only 6.
Yes, sir.
It's amazing that happened.
Right.
And I can't speak, as you said, for the president, but I feel strongly that he worked as hard as he could this year to get as much as he could for young people and others in the community. But given the political reality that we did not have the votes necessary to change the budgets more significantly, I think that the president accepted, if I'll use that word, to get as much as we could get out of this budget. And each year we're going to come back, and hopefully in the years to come, we'll get 2 or 3 others to join the 6 that are so far tight about changing our priorities in the city budget-wise.
Yes, sir. We have to. We have to have a new paradigm in this city. Since this is probably the richest city and the richest state of Maryland in the country right now, there has to be a change in paradigm. Got to ask your thoughts and comments as I'm looking at the budget. One, I always say, how can you come in a restaurant and you want to have something to eat and you never get a copy of the menu, or no menu's ever brought to you? So how could the citizens even come to a taxpayers night or not a budget hearing regarding the budget, but never having an access to even a skeleton copy of what was the proposed budget, so that the citizens could say, well, you gave $6 million this year to recreations. Well, how much did you give last year?
Right.
You know what I mean? And at a time when you were asking for an audit and in any of the 55 agencies within city government, or 51 agencies in city government, talk about the importance of the citizens being able to whether you use the cable access channel of 25, 75, or 77, so that the citizens can really know what's in the budget and the breakdown of the budget, so that they'll know, again, if we really are seeing, again, relief or more grief for the citizens as it relates to this budget for 2014.
Well, of course, Brother Darren, as you know, transparency is not a buzzword necessarily around City Hall.
Right.
And because of things like using Perkins Homes residents to gain a $52 million tax break,
right,
the more quiet things are, or the more obtuse they are, or the more hidden they are, I think the only people can understand what we have here is the NSA through their spy network. You gotta have NSA equipment.
Some NSA equipment
to get to our budget.
To get to the budget.
That's right. To the citizens or invite them to us,
right,
to go over the budget and to explain to them what this means.
Like they do with a corporation. We're the shareholders of this corporation called the Municipality of Baltimore City.
That's right. So if you go into a publicly owned corporation stockholders meeting,
yes,
you're going to get an explanation of what those numbers mean.
That's right.
Right, and they're going to say, well, I think the CEO got too much or the bonus is too high, and we're going to vote differently.
Right.
That's how that works.
That's right.
Now, if you got a private held company, you don't have to tell anybody anything.
Right, yes, sir.
But Baltimore City is not a privately held company.
That's right.
It is a public company where, as I say again, even people who do not work, who do not have a job, pay taxes.
That's right.
They contribute to this city.
Yes, sir.
And we keep dinging them and beating them with more taxes, more fees, raising the water bill, adding stormwater, adding sewer.
Right.
We just keep going on and on.
That's right.
And any piece of little thing that we can tag with a fee or a tax,
which is a tax by just another name. You
right?
know what I mean?
It seems like we do. We put a tax on phones of plastic. We just tax them and fee them to death.
That's right. That's what we're looking at right now. Yes, sir.
And it's really stunning, and it's unfair to the citizens who can least afford it.
That's right. Yes,
and
sir.
yet to the citizens who can most afford it.
Right.
They get a tax break.
They get a tax break. And of course, recent reports from the State Comptroller's Office has talked about a lot of these corporations are not even paying recordation taxes in the city of Baltimore.
Right.
You know? Right. So those are serious issues at a time the city is saying that, they're trying to get, of course, just to contribute toward the budget in terms of just being able to get the necessary monies collected in the city of Baltimore right now.
Right.
Got to ask your thoughts and comments as we're talking about that with the young people. Again, the mayor puts out almost the same statistics and numbers for jobs and summer jobs for young people as we saw under her predecessor, Sheila Dixon. I just haven't seen no real outreach effort to get jobs for young people, much less for the adults, but young people this summer. So the question is, what will our young people be able to do in terms of being able to work for 5 weeks this summer?
Right, and I'm going to go back into the past again, but there was a mayor in Washington, D.C., his name Marion Barry,
yes,
who said every young person in Washington, D.C. who wants a job, you got a job.
That's right.
That's every person.
Yes. He
didn't say the first 500. He didn't say the first 250. He said every person in Washington, D.C. who wants a job this summer, you get a job.
Right.
That's it.
That's right.
Yes, that's it.
That's right.
And I think that's what our policy should be. Yes. They either work for city government or they work for all the developers that we're giving $52 million in tax rebates to.
Right.
They take that money, some of that little bit of that money, and give children and giving young people 5 weeks of a job.
That's right.
And a job experience.
That's right.
And when it comes time for them to go back to school, they can buy incidentals.
Right.
They can buy wardrobe because I don't know about other people's children, but every summer my children grew a little bit more than they were the year before.